It's Saturday night, and as I speak to you from the red light on the tip of my mic, I bring to you a special insight about real life with Chess Rockwell and our featured artist, MTS. Brought to you by me, Nikki C, and 96.7 The Buzz.
Yeah, just with the parents off, and maybe keep the chorus around population. That's the real general. Section. Different topics.
Anamorphism is a type of lyrical experiment. It seeks to define the unknown mysticism throughout our literary history. As our thoughts morphed, we have grown with our imaginations. However, amidst the technology and influential devices, there lies deep in the brain of our cognition an environment that we only see in our dreams, where dimensions exist which are beyond our understanding. Come now, let me introduce you to the man known as Mobius the Shepherd. He will guide you on a journey into an audio documentation known as anamorphism. Please be sure to turn off all electronic devices, except for this one playing now. And please do not return your seat to the upright position. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy your journey and your stay at Anamorphism Land.
You can catch Mobius the Shepherd live at AS220 on February 29th.
Please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Multi-directional compass, walk in a different direction, searching for the grumpus. Made footprints on paper, smear my hands with paint, drew images of faces with lost stories that we try to taint. Monarchies replaced, the judges became the joggers. We're chopping down the waves just like lumberjack loggers. Handed smiles and pattings on the back, made good choice just to reach the end of the track. Finish line motion, need type of movement, reaching up with a trophy, sweating for ways just to prove this. Rhode Island, 2006. The Alum Production. Mobius the Shepherd. Falling down the pipeline, sailed down the valley, gathered all the pennies found on the highway. Found a lost picture, another time a letter, made their way to nowhere for the place much better. The feeling like sandpaper, touched like a doorbell. I smelled the smelling salts at the bottom of the well. Moved around, gave my ground, everything I made was sound. It's no surprise that we all gathered around. I caught like a captain in the middle of the storm, like an A student trying to sleep in the dorm. More is less, just look at the percentages, or at a cost, look at all the evil appendages. Bought the grief, stole the leaf, given work to the chief, gave every inch of strength just to pay for the meat. A trick or treat, I begged my life to walk on my feet, yet inside I felt one day maybe I reached peace. More is less, less is good. Can we put all our faith in knocking on wood? Knocking on wood. More is less, less is good. Can we put all our faith in knocking on wood?
Bringing your web, sewing it just like Charlotte. Everything's moving in your path, soon becomes the target. Castigate the innocent, reading out alliances. Everyone's an enemy, positivity as defiance. Searching the radar, honing in on success. Take what was neat, and they leave everything else a mess. 1 minute things are perfect, next everything changes. Life's an obstacle composed of many intricate mazes. What's the conclusion? Nothing's ever proven. Someone passes judgment, everything else turns to ruin. Seeking a result regardless of the outcome. Hiding from the sun, we resorted to acting system as a way out of trouble. Everyone's busting your bubble, hitting you where it hurts, looking for something to tumble. We laugh and snicker as if we've sought out perfection. Everyone wants to be perfect regardless of rejection. Everyone wants to be perfect regardless of the rejection. Regardless of the connection, it's constant violation. Only the negatives are ever factored into the equation. Add up all the attempts, working hard to achieve. It ends with greed, which is what we don't want to retrieve.
For those of you that just tuned in, and those of you that don't get it yet, we're going to go ahead and have a very free thought sort of evening here today in 96.7 The Buzz, because we do not only have Mobius the Shepherd, but we have the other counterpart to thought process here, Neumatic Impact. So we're going to let them go ahead and talk a little bit about whatever they want.
Oh, but I want to give shout-outs, too, if we could do that. If we could put in some shout-outs,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
And I don't know if you want to go first, but I definitely want to give a shout-out to Geometric, who's featured on track number... What is it, track number 9, Mark, of Anamorphism, Neumatic, of my album, of the solo album, is produced by Geo.
I think he'd be the one that we want to put, I was thinking.
There you go.
I don't know what their opinion is on Geometric, but...
To go back on your original question was talking about who do we want to put on. Yeah, go for it. Keep talking about that, Neumatic. Definitely Geometric. He's right.
Geometric is on point, definitely. Production-wise, lyrically, he's got such a large vocabulary. He's just all over it, and he's a really hard worker. He's been doing it for years. It's the best produced track on the whole CD when it comes to audio quality, and the beats totally off the hook. It's out of this world.
Matter of fact, dude, what are the way to say it? Then why don't they play? If you could play that track right now.
Well, we got the power to push the button, and we're going to push that button right now. Well, almost right now, because we got to tell you that the name of this track is Confectionery Texture. Enjoy if your brain just doesn't melt out on your shoulder.
This one goes to the folks who don't know how to express themselves. Crouching a cell beside a flower box and wishing well. Fishing gel tabs from turbulent brain waves. The tide recedes to expose the process lasting 30 days. Cyclical in nature to avoid fingerprints. Each eye that catches light sees only a glint. To allow the brain and conjecture. Confectionery textures manifest in the form of illuminated fixtures. Tinctures won't heal the soul. Only flabbergasted goofy girls with bugs in their ears behind the rock and roll will fuel the mental economy. Sodomy for the masses has become the accepted way of life between human population. Copulation's more important than the dire social situation. While children attack the public force, check the direction we're moving towards. A leisurely stride through a lifestyle we can't afford.
Thought reflection, conditional mentality, above density expression, lyrical chemistry, teach meter Olympic, styles too simplistic, geometric and Mobius, the topic is linguistic, belief in static, combustible engine, pay attention to this form of lyrical invention, Ferris wheel rotation, changing the station, federations of this lyrical sophistication, ancestor of locusts, accosted by evolution, systematic revolution, revolving outdated solution, related to symbols, depictions of metaphors, complexities of atom pertaining to folk.
I've got the ashes of the undead spread between my rigid fingers. The ears are still attacked, but without a head. It's only random thoughts that linger, collecting dust, scraping what's underneath the bed. The shrieks when I speak of our undying lust. The earth's crust assimilates with pole ships, and upon analysis it seems you sunken whole ships. Bat your eyelash, the final iron fist. These shoulders turn to the north to reveal a predictable twist. Wrists got broke, along with hearts full of hope. Sold the pieces to a demon god, each in a small dose. Unfold the timeline and pay homage to all folks, young and old. Sing through the cold morning and nights, a couple hold the candles to the moon. You might see through the holes, catch an underground loop where modern shadows get broke. Shot, infrastructures conducting cultural jolts. I feel it even more, but I remove the neck bolts.
The scars on my face reflect eternal sophistication. Each breath I take another pattern toward redemption. Not a pity, a triumph, engulfed by the tragic. Engrossed in epic struggles, journey for poetic static. Bricks stack up, fall short, become cities. Electrical wires networks for new capacities, broadband speed ingenuity, ballet of cumbrance, chemical substances, generation begging for lethal substance, juxtaposed folktale, deliverance of verbal, sip herbal, loss of this, mentally pop kernel, lock metal artistic, leaflet of shining crimson, hallucination, poetry, cabinet of expired medicine, rustic blanket of nail, hostile recreation, addicted to the liquid form of toxication, timid hunger for vengeance, search for penance. Each word I speak is an addiction of this ongoing sentence.
Look and see how it's all agreed. Culture and life is a commodity. The laws stretching beyond their means. From the system to the billboards that we see. The clouds going away with our dreams. Even cloud our eyes with the books we read. Now we're on our knees, so if we don't notice it, now we drop all contact and lose focuses.
Now all these changes and ethical statements. Discouraging your goals and deciding your placement.
I didn't vote for the rules and the regulations. But now I'm forced to abide by the freedoms of this nation.
Murder and greed has summarized this whole story. People changing German fences just like 1940. Still referring to me with derogatory comments of my race. We're the strongest to survive to get the fuck off our case. People so jealous they have to shoot others down. We created intellect while others acting like clowns. Responding to danger, drowning from action. Seeking influence by your devious reaction. Now all these changes and ethical statements. Discouraging your goals and deciding your placement.
I didn't vote for the rules and the regulations. But now I'm forced to abide by the freedoms of this nation. We are so small, thinking so big, defending and extending what we believe can achieve. But thinking individually, I'm here for the kids, even if they're not here for me. Not just me, I'm you, can only continue. Point blank ideals, don't have to wait to continue. Expand the menu, catalog it is missing. Reevaluate the defensive structure that is still existing.
Now all these changes and ethical statements. Discouraging your goals and deciding your placement.
I didn't vote for the rules and the regulations. But now I'm forced to abide by the freedoms of this nation.
We laugh out of fear due to hierarchical rejection. Obsessed people made to disguise their complexion. Still fairy tale vision, still fact or fiction. Still just a silhouette of the human condition. Hard to decide, I can't define logic. False salutations, still walking as targets. Mystery shadow, image reflection. Nation raised off millions of poison generations. Now all these changes and ethical statements. Discouraging your goals and deciding your placement.
I didn't vote for the rules and the regulations. But now I'm forced to abide by the freedoms of this nation.
I'm here with Mobius the Shepherd and Neumatic Impact, who together form Thought Process, which is the collaborative effort that gave you the second track you just heard, which is Abide by Freedom. So we're going to let them go ahead and tell us a little bit about their history. Gentlemen, you want to get into this?
Basically, Neumatic Impact taught me the process, how to conduct a song and how to produce the track. And now 4 years later, I put out a solo album called Anamorphism that, is encompassing many different artists from the area and other parts of the other states. First video we put on was 2006. If you look up Thought Process and Mobius on Google, you'll see the video to Alienated Nation, which we recorded right on Benefit Street in Providence.
Nice, hometown.
Right in front of like a diner. People are walking by, like, who the heck are these kids? And but basically, 6 years later, now those websites, those videos are now getting more hits than they did then because of the new stuff we're putting out. Give my love to the Buzz, this radio station, and also to AS220, who booked me a show in about 2 weeks' time. Yeah. That's going to be February 29th at AS220 in Providence. So anyone out there listening, definitely represent for Mobius and Thought Process. VIP to any cats to show up with a constructive criticism CD or an MTS CD and be like, get in on my tap, because I'm all about just giving out stuff for free.
We are all about free here at 96.7 The Buzz. Let's cut straight to this track, Alienated Nation, so everybody can get a taste of what we're talking about here.
Alienated nation, no longer neutral.
It's hard to remember when it was mutual.
If I close my eyes forever, just like Lita did.
I wake up in the morning light, never missing it.
We're all searching to find something constructive. Yet we're wired like electricity, constantly conductive. Like an orchestral conductor, bringing emotion, constantly soothing like the sound of the ocean. No lotion can moisten the dryness of this approach. Bringing heat like a toaster, busy making toast. Tell the host sour crafts in the scene. Bringing our wishes to life like the genie machine.
In our own mess that we created, we exist to blow up all that is creative. I open my mouth and carry out words that are modest. For saying what I feel is a crime with no accomplice. I'm a communist, there is not more freedom out there. Information that most Americans don't want to hear. We selected a system hypocritical to itself. Mortgages are slow, death and kidding, we're screaming for help.
Alienated nation, no longer neutral.
It's hard to remember when it was mutual.
If I close my eyes forever, just like Lita did.
I wake up in the morning light, never missing it.
We're all a bunch of clones searching for recognition. Willing to steer ourselves close to indecision. Especially when we hear we're not being accepted. Still we surrender our ability to be circumvented. Why? Because we must crave the popularity. Since we know it's one of our cherished securities. A rarity to some, while a joke to others. We are raised to be enemies, not even brothers.
Took out our dream home and settle on the line. Now we must work 80 hours a week just to stop. Right out of jobs and uphold the daily grind. This is the way to live. We continue to remind ourselves that we finally made it. Even in our hearts tell us that we hate it. State that we found a place in society. Nice car, nice home, nice job, but no variety.
Alienated nation, no longer neutral.
It's hard to remember when it was mutual.
If I close my eyes forever, just like Lita did.
I wake up in the morning light, never missing it.
Don't talk to strangers basically means talk to yourself. Being raised confined to labor just like a kid or elf. Making sweet things but just for others to taste. When deep down you know your whole life is a waste. Working real hard for others to live like kings. We hit one another cause we got nothing else to bring. Free as birds when we're migrating for the season. Give you enough reasons to really be believing.
Taking the power back is so passe. I asked you about what happened to it in Indian clay. Must have been a fad, a passing phase. Like the 60s movement that passed away. Once our head turns gray, we tend to reverse our soul. The heat escapes and gets locked outside in the cold. Even summer's growth can't relieve the chill. When I see George W. stay blanket from this dollar bill.
Alienated nation, no longer neutral.
It's hard to remember when it was mutual.
If I close my eyes forever, just like Lita did.
I wake up in the morning light, never missing it.
Alienated.
Never.
Alienated.
Spot energized, upholding daily grind. Spot energized, upholding daily grind. Never.
Alienated.
Never.
Alienated.
Never.
Trapped in an urban construct that he is too ill-informed to define, yet not blind to understand. His thoughts are for the now, and no long-term goals exist. The instinctual drive to survive amongst the savages and scavengers comes first.
Caught me on the edge of the cliff, you thought I couldn't jump. Grabbed a hold of the vine, swung down the nearest line. Invitations written in hieroglyphic, more than a thought, just saying that it's different. So you wanna make an impression like chalk on gravestone sites and printed benediction. Dug like holes in Charles Dickens novels. Can it go any deeper? Neighborhood squabbles. Topics like flowers planted in memory. Winter dimension, snowflake ingenuity. Winter dimension, snowflake ingenuity.
Maybe this is why he believes he no longer exists. Times have changed now. That was then, and the streets are now. He has reinvented himself as a disciple of the street, or at least he thinks. Family life and family problems are only in the background now.
Sing, oh God, this, the wrath of my people, neglected for too long. The voices from the steeple, men perished and shouted their commands, fell to the hands of the opposing army's plans. Mighty war cries came from the valley, held the golden staff, inscribed from the foundry. Cricket hit in the wall, spider down the alleyway. I saw a little fox lying, middle of the freeway. Speaking of culture, opinions and attitudes, motivated by light, nature, and solitude. On the edge of perspective, I gave my directive like a detective, searching for clues of introspection.
Trapped in an urban construct that he is too ill-informed to define, yet not blind to understand. His thoughts are for the now, and no long-term goals exist. The instinctual drive to survive amongst the savages and scavengers comes first. Deep down, he knows that he is lost.
Hopes and aspirations, crafted woven baskets, ideas of grandeur and tales of wild antics. Across the ocean, this Morse code is concealed. The sound is tapped from electromagnetic fields. Exaggerated understatement with evidence to yield. Like the strength of fighter cells being compared to steel. In this condition, fabricated from the force. Exponential energy gathered from the source. Never gave up, never lost my direction. Monotone salutation, written against deforestation. Left my expired web upon the walls. Left old writings in the dim-lit halls. Left old writings on dim-lit halls.
Maybe this is why he believes he no longer exists. Times have changed now. That was then, and the streets are now. He has reinvented himself as a disciple of the street, or at least he thinks. Family life and family problems are only in the background now.
On the edge of the cliff, reflecting on the past. Made many footprints and left in the glass, transparent. You can see me from both directions like my resolve. Never fought off introspection. Dipped in tunnel ash, the raccoon emerged. Its face was scratched, feet were submerged. Brought back by the bell, the ringing heard loud. Came out of the room, wearing a shroud. Traditionally akin, believing in our dreams. Stepped in a puddle, heard laughter in between. Object symbolism, geographical anecdotes. Davy Crockett Mike and characters we've endorsed.
Trapped in an urban construct that he is too ill-informed to define, yet not blind to understand. His thoughts are for the now, and no long-term goals exist. The instinctual drive to survive amongst the savages and scavengers comes first. Deep down, he knows that he's lost.
If you're done scraping your mind off of the wall and all the commercial fodder that went along with it, we're here with Mobius the Shepherd and Neumatic Impact. Now, I know both of you have your roots sewn pretty deep into the New England underground scene, and I was wondering if you could break down a bit of that history for us. And
When it's hard for us to break this down, and we apologize. I know Neumatic too, because there's so much history there that it's hard to condense it into 1 hour per se. So, but I want to make sure I put this in and plug Neumatic Impact too, because he had let me initially borrow his synthesizer, his 4-track in 1998. You know, he was just back from basic training. He's for those who don't know, the guitar player in Mama Drop Me, which was a big punk band in 92 and 93 and in the Providence area. And my brother, Nadav, who eventually played in the Agents, started the band with Neumatic Impact. And I was in 7th grade. My brother was a freshman. Neumatic Impact was a senior. And I was the roadie, and I would chill and record little demos, and this is 1992 now. Then we eventually, me and my buddies, formed a punk band called Yuck, and we opened up for Mama Drop Me. Where was that? At Neumatic. That was what, at the Attic, 1993? And Mama Drop Me headlined. And Neumatic, didn't you end up like meeting Ad Rock and MCA and some of the Beastie Boys? Or you met some cats and got Luscious Jackson, where some of the members used to be in Beastie Boys, and got some of their autographs, and that was a big influence on us. So we came back to the drawing boards. They started calling me up at school dances in 9th grade into 10th grade. Then in 11th grade, they asked us to do the variety show, which was the big yearly show. We got like a 5-minute hip-hop segment, which for those historians in Rhode Island, first ever. It was the first ever hip-hop act at a Lincoln High School variety show, because it's a big thing in Lincoln. They have a yearly variety show. So that 97 was the first time they ever had, like, now they do that every year. Yeah. And I still meet kids from Lincoln High School. They're like, oh man, they know stories even in 2012 about 97. Because the show was off the hook. It was in front of 1,000 people. It was a 3-day show. And that was when we were 17. Next year, Pneumatic Impact produced a track that we used for the senior year show. And basically, which actually I didn't end up doing, but the other cat I worked with did it. And it was still had good reviews, but basically we went to the studio in Pneumatic Impact's mom's house. What can I say? It was straight up from the garage style. And Pneumatic it was all cassettes, all analog back then. You know, he had basically a 4-track analog with a keyboard. And Pneumatic, why don't you tell us what happened next?
I was doing I was in the punk band Mama Drop Me, and I let Mobius the Shepherd borrow my 4-track. It's like a 4-track tape recorder and the SK1 Casio keyboard, and he was able to create some amazing stuff, and this was in 1998. I was heavily influenced by that. I was totally blown away by what he had done, especially by using the sort of chintzy beats that were supplied, pre-recorded, supplied beats that were in the Casio SK1 to come up with really some kind of like off-the-wall, outlandish material, so off the map. Just so off the grid, we kind of bounce off each other when it comes to being creative. And that was one of those things, too. It went from Mama Drop Me to Mobius the Shepherd to Pneumatic Impact, and we kind of like all intertwined in Yuck, like you mentioned. So from there, it just kind of like the train kept going. So that's why we put the train on the Constructive Criticism album to kind of represent how things were going, how we felt, plus the internal idea of the graffiti on the trains and the different messages that we come up with constructive criticism have to do with.
Because you're definitely illustrating a different angle, a different perspective on the thought process, which is big right now. That stems from I was doing some vocals. It's all still connected. I got up and I still go to they got actually a whole house in Pawtucket where there's like 5 bands that still practice. That's run by Shane Blair, who used to be the bassist in Mama Drop Me in Attleboro. It's in Pawtucket right now. But there's the band called Drunk Rob and the Shots. From the same family tree, and they're all circle of friends.
Yeah, that circle of musical madness, punk, hip-hop, rock and roll, it's all the same monster. So we're going to go ahead and continue to bombard your ear here. This track is called Footprint.
Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil, made eye contact with a crowd of different people.
Had to be clear, just to be civil. A hand to meet you, that was right in the middle. Just a sickle, pointed like cleats. A picture like lines that were written in streets.
Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil, made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil, made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Up to the origins, rug pulled from under my feet. In the kitchen with Truman, forced to take all the heat. Given a platform that's been torn from the norm, never conformed, yet constantly informed of scorn.
A common map from their lane adjacent, knowing the basis and how far we made it coagulated. A broadcast of NPR, the iron bars, open to letting the gods.
Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil, made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil, made eye contact with a crowd of different people. The fork in the road, deciding between love or hate. At the gym fighting against my weight for an opportunity escape. Chill, choosing hate before I choose to love or hate.
The status remains without believing, seeking words so routine like breathing. A theme and meaning, back to Constantine. This is not a dream, the forgotten odysseys.
Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil. Made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil. Made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Hit by all sides, yet acclaimed as a leader. My goal in life was to only be a reader. Wanted ideas for driving this vehicle. Pulled over by vice and told my transport's not feasible.
Plan movements, control what we do. Our robot suit is rusted to the past the magnetic boots. The hyper flute, the Pied Piper, we bind together as we select the prize fighter.
Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil. Made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil. Made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Look at me now, walking with clowns and gestures. In the parade of ridicule of volunteered investors who fell for the scam, but given return in the ranks of Kruger for all the times I've been burned.
You see the patience lost in Guns N' Roses. It shows us that we broke the potion. The number 9, gypsy with the cap tooth. It hit me fast too as we passed through.
Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil. Made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil. Made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Turned and chastised for upholding my job. Not realizing till now that my dignity's been robbed. Crabbed and mistaken, life's worth for the taking. All falling from the top at each other, complaining making.
Always kept together like twins from Cyan. Sacrificial lamb, Gold looks like Uncle Sam. United we stand in Rikers Island. Criminal-minded, like Pontius Pilate.
Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil. Made eye contact with a crowd of different people. Footprints left at the crossroads of truth. 9 times out of 10, choosing loop before you. Shook hands with choice, made amends with good and evil. Made eye contact with a crowd of different people.
Mobius the shepherd.
In the dark place between the fence and garage, there lies an open box creating a mirage. Hide if you wish, however you may never be found. Travel different landscapes, dimensions and sound. Travel different landscapes, dimensions and sound. It's the age of mistakes, we take what we can't make. Everything synthetic, falsely sympathetic. Aspiration prescribed through phony concentration. Relations turned aggressive, friendship became frustration. Belief is solid, constructed from cosmic mass. Decomposed matter, geologically stacked. Fossils used for fuel, demanded for economics. Lost motivation, hence the popularity of robotics. Popularity of robotics. As you enter the portal, you decide your fate. Choose wisely, for once you choose you can't escape. One person chose a tree, another an insect. A totem for inspiration, you can't control to select. A totem for inspiration, you're in control to select. Dipped in the inkwell, lost in translation. Emotional overcompensation consumes a generation. Traveling the bread trail to candy-coated luxury. Using a bone to convince blind evil lack gluttony. Quick feet, quick glance, yet slow to succeed. We bleed to survive, consuming matter to breathe. Growth from a seed, we read to children on our knee. Had visions in my head before I could really see. Visions in my head before I could really see. In the dark place between the fence and garage, there lies an open box creating a mirage. Hide if you wish, however you may never be found. Travel different landscapes, dimensions and sound. Travel different landscapes, dimensions and sound. another day, the whirlwind of the morning. People moving quick with instantaneous warning. Programmed to move and reach our destination. Ants in a line marching to specific occupation. Wishy-washy life, wishy-washy environment. People are torn between involvement or confinement. Complaining about complainers, sustaining the remainders. Based on surplus, take for granted the containers. Take for granted the containers. As you enter the portal, you decide your fate. Choose wisely, for once you choose, you can't escape. One person chose a tree, another an insect. A totem for inspiration, you can't control to select. A totem for inspiration, you're in control to select. The boy came from an unknown location, speaking a dialect that passed all inspection. With a peculiar note, he searched for his father. A misleading message with no one to decipher. Walked into the trap, put on public display. Concluded by the experts, not a derelict or runaway. Taught to read and write, turned into a sensation. Yet captured by the past from a secret eradication. Captured by the past from a secret eradication. In the dark place between the fence and garage, there lies an open box creating a mirage. Hide if you wish, however you may never be found. Travel different landscapes, dimensions and sounds. Different landscapes, dimensions and sounds. Mobius the Shepard, 2008. Sounds from the forest.
So for you, Mobius, tell me, what would be one of the songs you feel was really groundbreaking for you, in your personal reflection?
So, I would say Matching Coats. You know why? Because also the theme of it, the beat itself is not street, kind of more beat, more substance kind of song. It actually sounds kind of skimpy. Lyrical content is really strong, and the message is really strong about friendship. Kind of like friends that now don't come through for you anymore. And how, like, people act like fake adults that you thought were cool when you were a kid that are now like two-faced when you're older. Like, it hits a really good core. I would say that if I could pick one groundbreaking song, it would be that one.
And here that song is now, for those of you that weren't paying attention or maybe got distracted by something shiny. It's called Matching Coats.
Evidence of love, we shoved away every bit of hope. Talking sense, we've lied our words just to selflessly cope. Fearing the truth, the mirror is beyond our eyes. I'm staring in different directions at each person's disguise.
I'm torn like the picture into two sides. One piece wants to stand up while the other wall wants to hide. I glide like an airplane that cost $1.09. Try not to let the wind decide where I reside.
Masking our creation, asking for further consultation. How much more time will we need to finally find our direction? Lost on this island, will I ever even build this raft? Every opportunity I pass is leading to another shaft.
Should I run amok and beg the masses to understand it? Forward the face like dominoes taken for granted. Talk so much about this world and its mess. Now what should we do to clean up what's left? What's left? What's left?
Beneath the ladder, someone always holding support. Giving props to those swords even when they come out short.
Fair weather circumstances spark revolt. When power surges we point to the matching coats.
Building walls as friends, are we really reaching out? Sorry you can't hear my words, you really expected me to shout. If you want to hear me, no matter how many times I scream, I'm not one of your cast list and haven't made a cameo in your dream.
Even as a black sheep of your pack, you got your friends, but you a friend back. What determines a friend? Someone who agrees, or one that can challenge you on questionable reasonings.
We rule each other out in an attempt to excommunicate. Feverishly we wait to invite another chance of hate. Just like rabid dogs, we attack our own kind. Meticulously we've been designed to bark at anything that shines.
If I challenge your belief and didn't agree, would they cast me aside and think that we can never be the kind of people that can chill until we got old? Was friendship just business to be bought and sold?
Beneath the ladder, a real friend is always holding support, giving props to those swords even when they come out short.
Fair weather circumstances spark revolt. When power surges, we point to the matching codes.
Shining from the truth, we want to tarnish any good image. Gossip is only a reflection of who is really timid. In this race for popularity, who is on top? My majority is silence, yet you treat me like a cop.
We walk in the cold and reflect on warm premonitions, grow sick of the lip service, and forget how to listen, disrespect the connection, and lose patience with form, generate raindrops like a warm tropical storm.
Attempting to discriminate me from my way of thinking. Every time I say something, you display suggestive winking. Sending messages I'm not informed to understand. Morse code to enemies because you need someone to hold your hand.
Friction is norm to bring yourself back on track, but too stubborn to let a god down without that. In fact, pride can keep us together or split us apart. The sooner that we realize that, the better we are.
Beneath the ladder, a friend is always holding support, giving props to those swords even when they come out short.
Fair weather circumstances spark revolt. When power surges, we point to the matching codes. The matching codes, 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 the matching codes, 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 the matching codes, 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 the matching codes, codes, codes.
Well, we're almost out of our allotted time here. We're going to let Mobius the Shepherd go ahead and bring it on home, tell us about his upcoming show and what else he's got to say.
Yeah, the show is exciting, man. You know, people know Thought Process, which we've already explained. You know, there's a following in Seattle and in Providence. We're going to be playing in a couple of minutes tracks from 2006 off Thought Process Constructed Criticism, which we've graciously donated, a couple of copies. First edition, rare prints that are being sold for above cost online right now. So we're going to be playing those tracks to give the listeners a chance to hear the history. And then also I dropped off a couple of editions of the new Mobius the Shepherd album, Anamorphism, seeing the fruition of a Mobius the Shepherd AS220 show, which is on February 29th. So X, Y, and Z, these are all these different elements combined. But I got to give props to the video itself of Everything I Knew being out there, and I got to give props to firstpost.com to put it on two months ago, literally.
Can I ask you guys one thing while I have Mark on the line, too? Can we hear a freestyle flow?
Oh,
Of course. Did you bring some?
Well, that's the thing. We were hoping we could get an instrumental, but I don't know.
Did you bring a guitar?
Like I said, I was scrambling to get those CDs.
I should have brought a guitar then.
It will be to be continued. Don't worry.
This one goes to the folks who don't know how to express themselves. Crouch in a cell beside a flower box and wishing well. Fishing gel tabs from turbulent brain waves. The tide recedes to expose the process lasting 30 days. Cyclical in nature to avoid fingerprints. Each eye that catches light sees only a glint. To allow the brain and conjecture, confectionery textures manifest in the form of illuminated fixtures. Tinctures won't heal the soul. Only flabbergasted goofy girls with bugs in their ears behind the rock and roll will fuel the mental economy. Sodomy for the masses has become the accepted way of life between human population. Copulation's more important than the dire social situation. While children attack the public force, check the direction we're moving towards. A leisurely stride through a lifestyle we can't afford.
Thought reflection, conditional mentality, above density expression, lyrical chemistry. Teach meter Olympic, styles too simplistic, geometric and Mobius, the topic is linguistic. Belief in static, combustible engine, pay attention to this form of lyrical invention. Ferris wheel rotation, changing the station, federations of this lyrical sophistication. Ancestor of locusts, accosted by evolution, systematic revolution, revolving outdated solution, related to symbols, depictions of metaphors, complexities of atoms pertaining to folklore.
I've got the ashes of the undead spread between my rigid fingers. The ears are still attached, but without a head. It's only random thoughts that linger, collecting dust, scraping what's underneath the bed. The shrieks when I speak of our undying lust. The earth's crust assimilates with pole ships, and upon analysis, it seems you sunk in whole ships. Bad of your eyelash. The final iron fist, these shoulders turn to the north to reveal the predictable twist. Risk got thrown, along with hearts full of hope. Sold the pieces to a demon god, each in a small dose. Unfold the timeline and pay homage to all folks, young and old. Sing through the cold morning and nights a couple. Hold the candles to the moon, you might see through the hole. Catch an underground loop where modern shadows get rolled. Shot! Infrastructure's conducting cultural jolts. I feel it even more, but I remove the neck bolts.
The scars on my face reflect eternal sophistication. Each breath I take another pattern toward redemption. Not a pity, a triumph, engulfed by the tragic. Engrossed in epic struggles, journey for poetic static. Bricks stack up, fall short, become cities. Electrical wires network for new capacities. Broadband speed ingenuity, ballet of cumbrance. Chemical substances, generation begging for lethal substance. Juxtaposed folktale, deliverance of verbal, sip herbal, loss of this, mentally pop kernel. Lock metal artistic, leaflet, a shining crimson. Hallucination, poetry, cabinet of expired medicine. Rusty blanket and nail, hostile recreation. Addicted to the liquid form of intoxication. Timid hunger for vengeance, search for penance. Each word I speak is an addiction of this ongoing sentence.
That's the end of the madness. Please exit to your right where there is no floor.